What is up, all you GBA type people? This is Tom, and I will be bringing you the franchise breakdown video. Now, earlier, Top had uploaded a video that went over just the basic draft rules, went over how much things cost, and he briefly touched on how franchising works. And I guess I'm here to kind of just go a little more in depth as to how it might be effective, and which coaches franchise which mons, and if it'll work out for them as the season progresses. So first off, the franchising is essentially allows a coach to select one mon for one season to be on their team before the draft. Now, the franchising aspect happens before the draft even begins, and it'll count for their round 11 draft spot. So this means that whatever coach decides to franchise a Pokemon allows them to build off of that specific Pokemon and then work around that as the draft goes on. It also ensures that they have one reliable Pokemon to use before their draft even begins, and any kind of craziness or snipes might happen for them specifically. In addition, the Pokemon that they franchised has to be on their or had to have been on their team in season 4, or in the case for the expansion team, since we have 6 this year, it has to be a free agent Pokemon, so a Pokemon that was not even drafted last season by any other coach. In addition, franchising a Pokemon will cost 40 points, and that 40 points will be taken away from their 400 available points throughout the draft. So it does kind of hinder them a little bit, but at the cost of having one Pokemon before the draft even begins, like I said, to ensure that they have something to build around or something that's reliable, something that can't be, sniped away from them or grabbed earlier than they want to. And this is interesting because back in GBA Season 1 to Season 3, we had contracts. Now, the contracts were 1 year, 2 year, or 3 years, respectively. And essentially, you were locked into those contracts. Whatever Pokemon you selected for that amount of time, unless you dropped it for, I think 1 year you could drop for free agents, you were locked in those Pokemon. Now, having this franchise system and this new point system essentially allows there to be more variety, more fluidity, less of a monopoly, or even just staleness on your roster. So it ensures that coaches don't get bored with their team, and most importantly, it's much more expansion team friendly. Teams are not as handcuffed to lower ranked mons when they do come in, as compared to prior when they kind of were picking at, I guess, scraps, lower tiered mons that where other coaches had very high, powered mons. So moving on, I will now go into what Pokemon were franchised. There are only 4, so we'll lead off with Steve of the Milwaukee Sawsbucks. He chose to select Mega Gardevoir, and I think this is a very good move for Steve picking up Mega Gardevoir, because last season Mega Gardevoir finished 3rd in terms of the KD ranking, going 13-5 with a +8 differential. Mega Gardevoir for Steve was very effective. It was based on 100, so it was fast enough to be, somewhat of a sweeper or some kind of revenge killer. But it also, whether Steve needed to be powerful, going modest, or faster, being timid, he could, accomplish whatever he needed. And based on 100 speeds, nothing to really shake at. And of course, the Pixelate with the high special attack is very good for Mega Gardevoir, and having a decent HP stat and then a very good special defense stat allowed it to live whatever hit Steve might need, and then he can go and take on whatever it is accordingly. His defense is not that good, but his typing is it's effective. I do like the Fairy Psychic type, and yeah, I think it's good for Steve to base most of his team around this, because by having this offense early, he could focus a little bit more on defense, which there are a lot of options, and since there's only 4 franchise mons, it's not like he really doesn't have anything to choose from. So I like this, and I hope it works out for him again. Maybe we'll see a repeat of it being in the top 3. Next up, we have Mulvone and the Cincinnati Loudreds. They picked up Weavile, the MVP from last year, which went 17-3 with a +14 differential. Now, we know this thing shined last season. We know that it's powerful. It's great typing, 2 very good stabs, the also powerful knockoff, and not only that, it's fast, and what it does is kill, and it kills very effectively. I think Mulvone picking this up was a brilliant move, because there's a lot of hype around Weavile, whether you're talking about the UCL or the GBA. Not only that, but he used it very effectively. He knew when to bring it in, how to bring it in, what moves to stock up each week on, what priority to have, if any, and then just in general, how to go about using it. I think that this will work out just as effectively as it did last year. Maybe some coaches might prepare a little more for it. Maybe they will find some better answers, but it's still Weavile. It's still something to plan around, and Mulvone getting this is certainly it's him moving in the right direction because it allows him to have a lot of variance as to what he could get to support Weavile. We have Shady, the New York Yankees, picking up Milotic. Now we could all agree Milotic is annoying. Milotic is probably one of the best tanky or just bulky mons that's available in the GBA. Having Recover, Water is a very good typing. You could look at Vaporeon for similar idea. Being only weak to Electric and Grass, having Recover and Marble Scale, Milotic, very, very effective. I think Shady used it very effectively last year, whether he used the Mirror Coat Milotic against John, or he had the tanky competitive set where, I think he used that against Mulvone when he had the Intimidate Mega Manetric. Whatever you want to talk about, even Scarf Milotic, Shady knows how to use Milotic, and Shady picking up Milotic and pretty much having it for himself so that nobody else can pick it up before him and then use it against him, because I sure as hell know that I don't want to face Milotic, and I'm sure Shady can agree with me on that one. But having it himself and being able to build around it and use it effectively, I think it's probably one of the best choices you can make, especially when things went so well last season for Shady. I believe it finished 9-7, 9-7, the +2 differential. Now, for a wall or a bulkier type mon that's used to be special defensive or defensive, that is fantastic. So, good move by Shady. And finally, we have the Nick and the Boston Red Sox, who, now they are an expansion team, so like I said, free agent, but he picked up Manaphy. And Manaphy is fantastic. I think it's one of the best setup sweepers in the game. Tail Glow is nothing to mess around with, and being one of those base 100 legendaries, it's bulky enough, fast enough, and strong enough to, with that Tail Glow or just with the Life Orb or whatever, it's good enough to be something that's very reliable. He could take a hit and kill something. He could run like a Sugarberry set, a little bulkier HP investment, defense, special defense investment, regardless. Nick has, if for you guys that might not know, Nick was the Season 2 GBA champion. Probably why he was brought back, because he knows how to draft a good team. Now, back then, of course, he also had Mega Mawile, Deoxys Speed, and Aegislash, which I'm not saying, but I might be saying that those aren't really around anymore for good reason. But he knows how to draft a good team, and he knows how to play well. So that is the most important part. But having Manaphy, having a setup mon, and having a lot of variety with what he can do with Manaphy initially is very important. And I'm sure he will be drafting very well around Manaphy. So that's it, guys. Those are my thoughts on the franchise mons that the coaches selected. Hope you all enjoyed, and giving you all a heads up, the draft will be happening on Sunday. Time is unknown at the moment, but I'm sure there'll be a video, or check the Twitter, and I'm sure you guys will get more information about it. Check it out, and you guys can look forward to me and Kelly, just like last season, doing the power rankings. And as always, peace out.